What's up? What's up? What's up, bro?
Hey, what's going on, bro? How you doing?
Hey, I can't complain, man. I'm excited tonight, Corinth.
Oh man, you and me both. You and me both.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Kicking It with the Kellys. It's episode 31. Can you believe that? We'd have done 31 episodes, man.
That is crazy. Time fly when you having fun.
Corinth, we started this off impromptu, man, just on a Saturday, and I called you and I said, let's go live.
Yeah. Yes. I woke up. I was from a.
I woke you up out of your sleep.
Yeah, I was sleeping. I woke up 15 minutes later. You said put a shirt on.
Yeah.
Hey, we going live.
That's how it started. No, Corinthian, that's pretty much how I started. I had just finished doing a presentation for the Kappas, I believe. And I was already dressed, and I said, "Man, let me go. Let me talk to my brother." And we just did.
But see, to my viewing audience, I want you to understand what my brother just said. He was already dressed because he already did the presentation, so he was already prepped and ready. He called me at the last minute and said, "Hey, let's record our show in 15 minutes."
Correct. I knew you could handle it, man. That's what we made of it, man.
You're right. You got to be able to adapt and overcome. So
there we go.
Good.
Hey, let me stop being rude, man. I'm so excited right now. Yes. I'm so excited, and I just can't. I think was that Saved by the Bell?
Saved by the Bell.
Lisa.
Elizabeth.
We have Corinthian. I'm talking about. Listen, let me set this up. I came to Old Dominion to do a audition for a music scholarship, and Daryl was already at ODU. He let me stay in his room. He took me to the Webb Center, and it was just about 5'11", 5'10", 5'9", but however tall. Amazon God is standing in front of me. Mm-hmm. And he introduced. He said, "This is Amber." Now,
pause. Did you say I'm 5'11", 5'10", 5'9"? Back that up. 5'8.5". Continue your story.
How you gonna stop my introduction though? This is how I met. This is what I pictured in my mind. All right, so she was standing there talking to her friends. Met her, Amber. Come to find out, when I accepted the scholarship, I get the scholarship for music to come to ODU. I get to ODU, and come to find out, Amber was gonna be. She wasn't my RA, but she was the RA on my floor, on the third floor.
Was this
third floor?
Was this Whitehurst?
This was Whitehurst, Corinthian. And from then, Amber's tried and true. World, I introduce you. Well, most of y'all already know because she big time. Amber Ivey. Is it Esquire?
No, it's Amber Ivey. You said it right. How are y'all doing? Thank you for having me tonight. I love that Arthur told that story. I actually forgot about that until you just reminded me that I did meet you because Daryl was there first. Yeah. But I do remember y'all work some. You and D. Willis, if he's listening.
Hey,
or what's his last name? Wilson?
Yeah, Wilson. It's Wilson.
Wilson, D. Wilson. Yeah. Y'all were worrisome, but I'm glad that we were able to build that friendship and that we've stayed in contact now for some time. Like, we're old guys. Just let you know. Well, that's almost 20 years ago. No. That's almost 20 years ago.
Remember, I came there. You was already there. I came there when I was.
But wait, what year did you come?
07. I graduated.
No, what year did you come into school?
03.
What year is it now? 2 more years. That's 20 years, y'all. I'm just pointing out.
Oh man, Amber. Oh my God, I'm so happy that you agreed to do the show today with us.
No problem. I'm glad that Corinthian showed up. I know he's been in action for a couple of
We've been trying to make this work for a long time.
Glad you're here today.
Yeah, I had some contract disputes with my brother. Now, we're here. We're so excited that you're kicking it with us. So thank you.
Yeah, Amber. I remember you were the president of the SAC, Student Activities Council. Corinthian. Amber brought Fabulous to ODU. Amber brought. She brought some hangers and bangers. I don't know.
It ain't the same now, though. But
Arthur. I know the impact because I went to some of the weddings.
Yeah.
Oh, you weren't supposed to be there.
No.
I'm talking about campus chaoses. I'm just talking about Amber.
Yeah.
You did.
It was a good run. I will say that.
You left your mark. You left your mark for real.
Thank you.
So let's talk about this because we got to let the people know this is Black excellence that we're in front of right now. No, and I got to give you your flowers. Amber.
I don't even like flowers. I prefer water. So let's make this real quick.
I'm gonna get you an edible arrangement. This is your edible
I'll deal with those.
All right, here we go. You were doing your thing on the. I knew that you were already like destined like for greatness. Like when I met you, so just to see you doing your thing now, it's just like amazing. I'm so proud of you, for real.
Thank you. Same to you. Corinthian, I don't know you that well, so I can't say this. But for APK and your wife, I admire all that you have done, you and Nakia have done, and I really appreciate this chance to be here. That's about as serious as I'm going to be for the rest of this interaction.
I appreciate it.
But also giving my flowers to you both.
Okay, Amber, let's talk.
Too. I know you're killing it with your masters and all this other stuff out there in somewhere, Kansas, Wichita, or somewhere.
Hey, I'm not clicking my heels twice. I'm not getting out.
I'm not going there anymore. But I have been there, and it's been great. I've done some work out there. So let me say that. Kansas is actually a very nice place.
It is.
All right, so Amber, you're in Maryland.
You should probably move back to the East Coast relatively soon. So once this moment is over, we have a space for you on the East Coast. Many of the states are open, so feel free to check it out.
All right, so you're in Maryland, right, Amber?
Yes, I'm in Baltimore, Maryland. Let's be very specific. Baltimore, Maryland. That's where I live and bought my home and where I do my work and also where I work. So I'm excited to be here.
And there's some commonality there because Corinthian, you can tell it better than I can.
I lived and worked in Baltimore, Maryland for close to 4 years, from 2010 to
that's awesome.
2014. I directed an after-school program. So shout out to Higher Achievement.
Woo!
More that was my folks. That's home, East Baltimore all day. I don't want to talk.
For people watching, what he just basically did was throw up a gang symbol in the middle of our conversation. There's a big war here with West and East. Not war, literally. Like, let me be very careful with my words. But no, West and East side go at it. Like, West says they're better than East side, and there's this West-East thing. I'm not from here. Yeah. I live, I think, in the Northeast quadrant. But I love the area I live in. I love the city overall. So, yeah, glad you were part of East. But for everyone watching, he needs to watch his words, depending on who's on the call.
I'm not going to watch him. I got adopted to East Side. So.
Oh, you got adopted. Yeah, that's hard. That's damn near impossible. So congratulations. You must have some very good work here.
So Amber, okay, so you are obviously you just received your Juris Doctorate. About in the last 4 or 5 years or 3 years? What is it?
No, like the last 2019. I just graduated.
Oh, look, the pandemic then got me all messed up.
Okay. Yeah, that was not that long. It was like yesterday. 3 or 4 years. I'm like, it's literally 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. What made you want to be a lawyer?
So I don't want to be a lawyer. So I'm being very clear. That's not what I want to be.
Okay. All right.
But no, I wanted to go to law school. Originally, I thought I wanted to go to law school for a few reasons. The first is going to sound very selfish, but I'm going to say we're kicking it with the Kellys and keeping it real.
Hey,
but honestly, it was around like a little bit of one, like my whole childhood, I always thought I wanted to be a lawyer, and I really thought I wanted to do that. I went to ODU and I was like, this lawyer thing going to take 7 years. I'm not trying to be in school for 7 years. Okay. Just being very honest with you all. So I was like, what can I go in and make money coming right out of school and not having to go back to a master's program? So I did that for some time, and I ended up being a logistics manager. And I love that work. So I'm an operations person. So that work was amazing. But then I was like, I'm just making a private sector company money, and I'm not really helping people and not really having impact. So that's when I decided to move up here and go to school at University of Maryland. I got my master's in public administration first and started working for the governor up here. I worked under 2 governors, Governor O'Malley, as well as the current governor, Governor Hogan, and really loved that work and what I was doing. Then I got recruited. Well, right before that, I was in the middle of an election year. So anybody who works in governor's office or in anything related to elections, that means turnover. So when the Democratic nominee did not win and we knew that Hogan was going to win, I'm like, I need to find job security.
Okay.
So I was like, I can go back to school. I just graduated the year before. I was like, I'm going to school for my my JD. Plus, I always like wanted to whet this appetite of like helping do good and being out there for folks. And I'm a social justice person, like at my core. I'm always like volunteering or doing something with activism. Even if it's not related to my job. So I found a school that was going to give me a good amount of money and they were focused on social justice work. However, I went to the school. I loved it. It was an amazing school. When I got there, I started to realize that a lot of the work around social justice work wasn't going to have the type of impact that I wanted to have. Like I had clients like going through our clinic and things like that. Clients who are like losing their house every single day, sitting in eviction court for like different days and seeing hundreds of people like fighting for their houses and literally seeing one for one, the same thing happening again. They're going to be back here in another month or back here in another year. So I was like, there has to be a better way to use lawyering and to really focus on like having system-wide impact. So at the same time, I was doing data work and things like that in my job. So I'm an operations/data person. So that's what I was doing. And I remember going away to a retreat, and it was a retreat focused on social justice people. And I remember a lady said, if you're going to do this work, plan to be poor, just like your clients. And I'm like, who sells this?
Okay.
But it's reality. Like if you're doing that type of work, you're not getting paid money, and you're often living on a system as well, or having issues with like being able to go places. It was actually a lady from the movie, the 13th movie, that was produced, and she was in the movie, and she was talking about how she's only been able to travel because people have asked her to come speak. She couldn't even travel as a lawyer, Harvard educated lawyer.
Wow.
Couldn't even travel because of helping poor people keeps you poor, which is like mind blowing. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And then like seeing the same people in the system. So I really wanted to get back to what I've been doing since I graduated, which was really around like helping government improve. Like I moved up here and I was like, I'm going to make government better for people. I didn't know how. Didn't know what I was going to do. Right. And I really got into my niche, and that's what I've been doing is helping governments improve with the intersection lens that has technology, data, and law and government together. So that's where I'm able to speak to lawyers, I'm able to speak to data folks, I'm able to speak to technologists, as well as a governor or elected official. And I sit in the middle of that when most of those jobs don't normally talk to each other. Right. They never communicate. So it was something that I felt like I needed to do, but really looking at the future for how we use data and how we use law in a different way. I talk a lot about like what's happening with autonomous vehicles and how they're more likely to hit a Black person due to the skin color and the data that's in those documents. I talk about how governments in general, how they're using data to do predictive analytics or predict which kids should be taken out the home, how we need to make sure we have legal side of that and thinking about what the social ramifications are for Black people who often get their kids taken out of home. Like there's so many different areas that I love doing this work that are not law specific, but it requires the law to advance it. So that's how I ended up where I am today. And today I'm the director at a Center for Government Excellence at Johns Hopkins. And we work basically with cities across the whole country, as well as in Canada and Latin America, to help them do this work that I'm trying to do.
Right. Do you see how nonchalantly she's trying to say everything that she did? Like
I will hang up
the resume that she just gave us was wow.
Arthur.
Okay, go ahead, Corinth.
See how together, like how logical the logical flow. So I picked up on a couple things. So Amber said she has an MPA, a Master's in Public Administration.
Right.
All right. So I just finished with my MPA. So whoop whoop. I already know, right? But what I loved about what you said, Amber, I've read in some recent literature that people claim that we're in the fourth industrial revolution. Okay. And data is the new oil.
It is.
Okay. So what oil did for the Rockefellers and heard a lot of our industries, manufacturing. Okay. Data is that now. I'll give an example.
And they're already making the money off of it.
They're making
billions. Trillions, probably.
Yes. And what they're going to market to you, what they're going to sell you. Like if you even search something on a computer, you're going to see some ads for whatever you search for, a whole list of stuff, right? That's data analytics. But I, how you said you want to use data to help people that need it. And the last thing I noticed I want to point out, you said the government operates in a lot of silos. That's what I heard. So basically, the organizations, the silo, how we've always done stuff, is not communicating with other agencies that might be doing similar or the same thing, or trying to help the same people. Mm-hmm. There's no collaboration, no communication, no using data to say, oh, we're all trying to do this. Let's combine our efforts and impact more. You need some crossover, okay? Mm-hmm. But you want data to drive those decisions. So I love the fact that you carved out a niche. It's necessary. Yeah, working on the east side. For those that don't know, Johns Hopkins is one of the best universities in the country. Awesome medical school. I used to pass it every day heading into work. So awesome. Thank you for sharing all that.
Wow, Amber. So, all right. So
can I hit on something Corinthian said before we go too far? For those who are watching this later, Corinthian said like the God honest truth when it comes to data. Like Facebook only exists, and I know this is being streamed on Facebook, only exists for this data. Like seriously, like in the beginning, they were like, oh, we're making a friend site, la, la, la. That's not what it is today. It's purely a data site that literally Facebook knows its users better than anybody else in the world at this point. And there are other companies that are very similar to that and have that level of data. Not only like just sending like Corinthian was talking about, like texting or searching a text or whatever. Like you've given your phone access to a few things: your camera, you give phone access to your microphone. If you have a Droid, you probably already noticed this, where if you're talking or in Instagram and have certain permissions where your phone or where your camera or where your microphone is able to access your voice, you will see an Instagram ad pop up right behind that because it's already taking that data. And a lot of people don't realize this is literally listening to you all day long to advertise to you. Like it knows me so well. And I'm like, oh, you know me. Let me go ahead and buy this. Like, you know, I want that anyway. But seriously, but the problems that come with that, right, is that human beings should have the opportunity to say, you can use my data. That's why Apple, a lot of you who have Apple know this happened, but Apple started putting in those disclaimers where you have to actively give permission to your data. And I think that's the way we should move, period, as a country. Like the EU has already done this through some of their government protection laws around data and individual data. They allow you to take your data with you from a company. Here, we have to figure out a way, especially with the way things are moving. We're not going to have the amount of jobs we have right now. Jobs are going to be on a decline. Jobs that require, that can be automated and things like that are already being pushed out. COVID, sadly, made this happen even quicker. Those jobs are not coming back. Like people are struggling just to hire people. A lot of this stuff is going to be automated with technology. They've already tested out Amazon stores, and their stores exist now where you don't have, at my law school, you don't have to, there's nobody there to take your money. It's a faith system. You go in, type in what you're getting, and you walk out. And Amazon has it where you can go in their different, some of their different markets, and you go in, you walk out, everything is chipped, and it knows exactly what you took out, and it's going to charge you. So there's a problem when the jobs are going to be reduced so substantially, and we're going to lose, especially for folks in different lower skills, and then later on in those mid-level skills, we're going to lose positions, and they're not going to have nothing to do. That is real. So you hear things about like the universal basic income or charging these companies for the data. Like we have to figure out a way for people to monetize their data and make money off of it, because at some point we're not going to have jobs for them. And it's not like, I'm not trying to be funny, but this is something that's going to happen very soon in the near future. And companies are not going to let COVID happen again. Like they were hit hard with COVID because humans could not come to work. Yeah. If you don't think these companies are already researching how they can get a drone, computer, or how to like use these different systems, look at Target today. Even Target has way less cashiers than they've ever had. Yeah. Walmart, way less cashiers. Yeah. They're going to keep reducing that until we get to a point where we are fully automated with a few people who are managing those systems and not having the need for people. So I don't say that to scare people, but I say that to scare people, because there has to be a time where you look at your intersection and find out what your intersection is. Mine is technology, data law, public policy. You got to find out how your intersection, like if you're a school teacher, how does that intersect with data technology? Yeah. If you're a librarian, how does that intersect with data and technology? How can you ensure your job is secure? And I believe everyone should have basic skills around some of these things to make sure they're going to have a job in the next 10, 15 years, because this is only going to go faster. We're going to be in Mars in like less than 10 years. Like this stuff is about to speed up. And I'm always concerned because I'm talking to people. I'm like, y'all aren't paying attention. Corinthian said this is oil. It's probably big. What is bigger than oil? This thing is diamonds. Like it's like so massive, and they're only going to keep pushing out these companies, pushing out these apps, and they're going to keep collecting our data, and we're giving away from free, and which is a sad state of affairs. And then we're not going to have jobs.
I think I got a data overload. I know Corinthian, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna try to act so I'm not smart. So literally, when they say look to your left, look to your right, I'm the one that's not finishing.
Who's not gonna be there?
But listen, so you brought up Walmart, the cashiers, and everything like that. After Corinthian goes, I want you to speak to how this affects the Black and brown community, as far as because I was looking at Virginia Beach, obviously a lot of jobs, because the waitress, they couldn't go to work. There were a lot of businesses that had to close down because they weren't able to supply somebody, ordering online and everything like that, all that stuff. So how does that affect us? And then when you say school systems, how does that affect the school systems that didn't have access to all the computers? Like I know in Chesapeake, like let's say the Mount, they donated a lot of laptops or Chromebooks to some schools because the school systems didn't have that already in place for their students. So I want to see, along those lines. But Corinthian, I know you got something to say, and I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy this conversation because I can't provide.
You should also add to it, ABK. If that's your real name, you have author in the screen.
You know what?
I'm talking to.
Amber, I'm not doing this with you today.
No,
I'm sorry. That was heavy. I need to laugh for a second before we go into this depressing conversation.
Actually, Amber, could you start there? So Arthur was talking about the impacts on schools. Can you start there? And then I have a follow-up question to that.
Okay.
Yeah, the schools really make me sad, honestly. And that's one area where I'm struggling because we're not preparing these kids. The fact that kids had to, during COVID, get a laptop. Laptops are the new textbook. That's how basic they are. A laptop. I remember interviewing someone for my podcast. She's a doctor, and she was head of a school actually down there. And I can't with the pop-ups. Sorry for those who are listening to this. There are pop-ups that threw me off. And I have there's no game face here at all. So every time y'all throw something silly, I'm gonna have to look up so I do not engage. But what happened was, she and I were talking about the digital divide. And the digital divide is that there are people in this country, a lot of them, who either don't have access to technology, don't have access to broadband. There are people still in this country on dial-up. Like, I'm not joking. Like AOL, all that noise stuff, people are still on dial-up in this country. How do you expect them to compete with people who have fiber or people who have other access to like high-speed internet? It's very sad. And then a lot of these people are either in the Black community or in rural America, where poor whites, Blacks, and Latinos and different cultures live. And for me, it was like, you're handing kids a Chromebook. And I remember talking to her, and she was like, well, they don't know how to use a laptop. Like, when are y'all teaching these kids how to use laptops and how to make sure they're actually closing the digital divide? Because it's more than a laptop. That's just the beginning stage of it. Like, kids need to understand how to use these tools in a different way. And if they don't even have the laptop, which is a textbook, that's basically having a kid going to school and saying, you get no textbooks this semester. Here's pencil and paper and figure it out. We put these kids in the Stone Age when we don't give them a laptop, comparable to our current state. But then other schools that do have access to the funding, because school funding comes from property taxes. So if you live in an area that doesn't have properties that cost a lot of money, your school's not getting a lot of funding. It's sad, and that's the way it is. But those kids have access to computers, tablets, all this stuff they need to do, the classes, coding, all these different classes that they can take. Not to say everyone who's growing up needs to be a coder, but if they want to be an influencer, they should know how to do those things. Because influencer, y'all laughing, it's going to be a real job. And it's already a real job. And a lot of people are not going to get jobs. So they're going to have to do things online to create personalities and sell and make money. Yeah. So influencers, everyone's like, think it's a joke. That's going to be a main job in the very near future for folks, because they don't have another option.
Let me get started.
Go ahead and kick it with the Kellys and add your IG or TikTok and your
Sam and Archie, thank y'all so much for Archie.
Fill in the blank shop. But the other piece around Black and brown kids, like I remember, like I often like help to give kids laptops here and things like that. I remember talking to a kid, I'm like, do you want a coding laptop? Because there's computers that you can literally use to code and built to code, and they're different than your regular laptop. Or you're on a regular laptop. And he was like, what's a coding laptop? And I was like, Jesus Christ. He's probably 17 years old and he didn't even know what that was. So
I talk to 17-year-olds that don't know how to mail a letter. So
that's real. And if they can't do even basic one-on-one life skills, how am I going to hand you a laptop for you to actually go out there and get a job, or to be the next influencer, or to create your beats, or whatever it is you want to do, or YouTube, whatever it is you want to do, or learn to code, or learn another skill that you can learn vis-a-vis the computer. We're behind. Like, I'm not trying to be funny, and this gap is about to be at the point where we're not gonna be able to catch up. Like, and sad to say that, and I hate to say that, and that's when I was texting y'all the other day, I was like, some stuff y'all don't want to hear, but at one point we're not gonna be able to catch these kids up, and then that's generations. So we can either figure it out now, or we're gonna be screwed. Honestly, sorry y'all to make it go down.
No, we about to go deep sea diving right now.
This is what we need. Okay. The only
Corinthian, are you do you have us on your computer too? I hear an echo.
I hope not.
Okay, you good. It was probably Amber.
Okay,
it's all good.
I don't even have Facebook on the website right now. It's not me. I just checked.
You good.
All right. Hopefully y'all can hear me now.
Yeah.
Amber, we need blinking red light because that forces you to act. Okay, so I need alarm sounded so loud that you can't turn away, you can't, look away. That will prompt people to act. Okay.
But will it?
Yeah. All right. So now
that's where y'all want to hear me talk.
Prompting people to act. All right. There's a role that everybody plays. Okay. Especially in our community. If we think the school can solve this problem, this big of a gap, we're wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
That means the school has to play a role. Parents have to play a role. Cousins, uncles have to play a role. The business community has to play a role. Yeah. Even churches have a role in this. That's how big this gap is.
It is. You're right.
So, okay. I know it's people at this church that's on every corner that know how to code as well. Okay.
So on that topic.
You see, so I'm like, all right. Well, after the Sunday,
she going in tonight.
No, I'm not. I'm going to behave myself.
After I
in this world, we should not have a church in every community, and people are homeless on the same corner.
I feel like y'all the Doublemint twins. This is exactly what Corinthian said.
Amen. Look,
but there's no other twins. We just have to pick the dumb twins.
The skills. The people, the human capital that we have in certain these spaces, we have to tap in and get more out because just like you said in our community, we might get to a point where the chasm is way too big to even close. All right. So we're at a point now where we can do some things, but you got to hear the alarm and hear how dire it is. What you said about businesses and positions being eliminated and they will never come back.
That's real.
The self-teller at Target is not going to get COVID. That machine is not. Now we need to be thinking, okay, the next job is how can I repair that machine? And then you only need one person.
Or create it or service it. All those things. Agreed.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is, I know automation is coming. How can we be telling our kids how to code, how to repair the automation devices, how to invest in the stock for AI? That's what I want us to be going to. And we have the knowledgeable people to do it. It's just got to be said, not just at the school, not just the people that know. Everyone has to know.
I agree with you 100%, Corinthian. I'm going to be a little bit negative. I agree with you. I think we're at the point. I think there's like a thin line. We got like less than 5 years in my mind. There's no data to back this up. I'm just saying in my mind, less than 5 years to figure some stuff out. For those who are don't admire or don't want me to curse, bleep that one out for myself. But no, honestly, like we have, like in my mind, it's like less than 5 years. I think the number is by 2030, it's like 32% of our jobs are going to be automated. COVID already increased that. So I don't even know what the number is right now and how much higher that number is going to be. The thing that you said that is crucial is that if all those pieces do not come together, one of those will never work to fix the whole system issue, right? It's like if a computer breaks down in a building, that's what we are. One person can't fix it. Like everybody has to jump in on that. If someone's hacked, whatever, everybody has to jump in on it to fix it. We're at that state of everybody has to jump in or everyone gets to watch and see that whole thing fail. And I think that we have more people willing to watch to let it fail than we have people who are actually willing to do the work. And that's part of our problem. And when I say our, I'm speaking specifically to my community. And so that
let me ask you this.
Oh, you gonna stop? You want me to say what I was gonna say? You gonna stop?
No, let me.
Go ahead. You can speak. I'm gonna finish it though.
Is
as soon as you get done.
Racism.
So I'm not here. So I'll tell you right now, what I'm not going to talk about is that part right now, because your question was, what do we need to do for our community?
Okay. All right.
So if you want to talk about that, that can be your second question. So let me finish this part and then ask you that question next. But honestly, it's like there's a certain level of, I'm also pulling the racism thing. People have been racist since the inception of this country. And if y'all think they about to start doing something new to help your black ass, you're sadly mistaken. And we're at a certain point, yes, there's folks who have to, thank you, Sam. At folks who have the opportunity, to like move in those areas and move systems. Like what I told y'all when I first started, I was literally like in the court system watching black families, brown families every day, hundreds of one court, 150 a day, going through eviction court. If you read the book Evicted, you know this is real. Like eviction is a very big problem. And there's so many other legal issues that Black folks and in the community due to systematic racism, which is a big issue. We're literally ringing the alarm and saying, hey, y'all, why don't y'all help us? We've been begging for years. It took George Floyd for companies to just start talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Did y'all not see how many millions of people have died through the passage or coming over Middle Passage, through coming in this country, through dealing with everything from Reconstruction to Jim Crow laws, the South and all that stuff, to segregation. I always say to people, our parents were born in segregation.
Right.
They are not going to help us. The same people who were alive when my parents were in segregation, your parents were in segregation, they were born into segregation. We're still fighting the same issues. So at some point we got to say, yes, people need to fight that fight. And there needs to be folks that focus on that. I'm doing it from my lens, which is like working with government to make sure they're not making it harder for people. What is your lens, Corinthian? What is your lens, Arthur? What is your lens, everyone who's listening to this today? Yep. You need to fight it in your area, period. But at the same time, we cannot do it separate. Like we said, bring everybody together, fight the racism, but also fight that we need to work better together as African Americans in this country to do a better job to work together. It has to be a dual process. Because someone asked me this question. I'm gonna ask this question. I'm gonna shut up. Someone asked me this question. They said, if you fix all the racism in this country, would it make the Black community better? If your answer is not yes, they have to be fixed together at the same time. Racism now may have been the thing that kicked it off in the foundation, but it's not the only thing now. So we have to, at the same time, we have to be parallel to that racism movement to make sure that we're talking to our kids, telling them how beautiful they are, talking to them about their worth, their value, literally deconstructing all the stuff that racism brought is now part of our community. Let's not act like all of us on here have not danced to a rap song that's calling our community names that we shouldn't call. We are putting that stuff in our own head now. Someone said to me, they were like, the KKK would smile and be bashful at how y'all treat yourselves. And I was like, damn, like I had to really think about it because they put the system in and we have now become a part of it and we're okay with it. There has to be a level of, we have to look at ourselves in the way that we truly are, which is God's children on this earth, which is not what they told us we are. And we have to reject all of that white supremacist culture, period, all the way down to roots of even some of our own parts of our culture that we've adopted. And I'll be quiet for
I got to change my ring light. I'm getting so hot right now. I got data overload right now. I got to change the color of my ring light. I'm getting so hot.
Amber.
Yes.
You just made my heart so happy about what you did. My heart
feel like
inside. What you're speaking to, they're two separate issues. My goal has always been I can focus on what I can control. All right. It has to start there.
Yeah, agree.
Then it has to extend to my family.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then out to my community.
You are my brother.
All right. So now
I told y'all the government twin.
So
we are. I agree now.
A code of conduct that we have amongst ourselves is certain. Half the stuff that's going on can't continue to happen.
Agreed.
I can't argue back and forth with a person that like we should be building together, not tearing down. All right. That is a mindset that has to be taught.
Mm-hmm.
And then a code of conduct also has to be enforced. So we also know people that are going outside that code.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be a consequence for it. Now, I'm not saying you gotta, I mean, the severity is something totally different.
Right.
And is any code has to be enforced. Think about it from a building standpoint. When code and compliance comes through and you out of code, it's a consequence. It's a penalty for that. Yeah. We have to have that. All right. So I'm not the first person that said that. Amber's not the first person that said that. That's stuff that Dr. Claude Anderson has said. There should be a code of conduct amongst us. There's a black code. Buying and selling and trading amongst yourselves. I mean, the way that we love our community, the way that we patronize each other, that's a code. That's called being on code. So to the points that you were making, I mean, spot on. Yeah. Spot on. And I don't want us ever to be waiting for a Superman to come in and fix our community. It ain't no one.
And Jesus already came once, if you believe him.
No one.
And the second time, he ain't coming to fix nothing.
We have to. I love that point. We have to be accountable to each other first. All right, and we are the solution to these problems. We're solutions to it. So now, when I'm on code and I do get into a space where I have a chance to influence policy, government, law, I'm on code and I say, now, this is what's going to happen. You see what I'm saying? Now I'm on board of trustees where I'm saying, I want development to go here. That happens by us being engaged, being on code. Now I know all the planning for this locale in my community has to go through this board. Mm-hmm. If we don't have people at the table at this board,
preacher,
then how can you say anything about it? You're not there. So we're off code there. You have to be there. You have to be present. You have to play your role. All right. And your role is bigger than just you getting some gain, some benefit. It extends beyond you because, like Amber said, we had so far of a deficit. If you get good and straight, how does that benefit your whole community? That's the question I'm gonna ask anybody. So
I agree so much.
I'm to move now and operate.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, y'all talking about compliance. Y'all know, y'all have seen in Florida what happens when you don't follow code and compliance. That's what's gonna happen.
No, that's real though. Oh my God, that's so sad. It's so real. Code and compliance.
So y'all, that's the picture that y'all need to take away from here.
It's real. That's a very good picture to hold. Honestly, make like
Amber, our timeline blowing up. You got Facebook ablaze right now. Hey, do I need to have a VPN? Because they might be tapping out.
Look, or you need, y'all know Microsoft. You're supposed to update because they had a systems issue. So make sure that y'all updated your Microsoft. They can't
thank you for that.
That's real. I'm telling y'all, like it's a bad issue. So Google it and update your computer.
Thank you. Hey, we got so much to talk about. Listen,
Can I say a comment before we go? I just want to respond to what Corinthian said. I agree 100% with you, what you just said, Corinthian. I always tell people are like, how can I do more? I'm like, it's 5 areas for me. I think it's 5. I haven't said in a while, so maybe 4. We'll see. The first is you start with me. Like, what can I do in my own personal life to make sure my stuff is together? Before going to anybody else's business, like Bible tells you, like, don't go trying to pull the needle out someone else's eye, and you got basically a tree in your eye. So what can I do for me? How can I, as an individual, like focus on my own self-care, focus on who I am as an individual, focus on being a better me, period. All starts at the individual level. Next is my family. A lot of us don't even handle the stuff in our family. I'm guilty sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, I don't feel like dealing with y'all. But we have to also work on our family. Like, who in your family immediately has some of these needs that we know impact our community, whether it's stuff around poverty, stuff around food insecurity, stuff around education. Like, how do you then next make sure your family is good to go? Then you go to your community. And when I say community, not even your whole neighborhood just yet. I'm talking about your block. Like, who on your block needs help? Who on your block can you help to get education or help to provide resources to? A lot of us, especially for those who have gone to college, you have so much knowledge and you don't even realize until you start talking to people and you realize, like, oh my God, just going to college and getting an education outside of like primary education open our mind and our views to so many different things that we kept to ourselves. Like, we've become knowledge hogs, and most of us still, like, we go to conferences all the time, we get all this knowledge, and it's like, why aren't we sending people to conferences who have never had this before? Like, for us, we're probably getting a 1%, 2% increase after we go to a conference. Most of the time we're not paying attention. Half the time we think we know, we're just there to have fun or whatever, enjoy the after hour. But reality is that for a mom in a community where she may not have access to that, or for a father in a community who may not have access to that, we will literally take them 20, 30% and open their minds to things they never know. So the other piece is then, once you get your block, go into the bigger community and making sure you're looking at the government, making sure you're going to those meetings that Corinthian was talking about and being involved. Because we can't complain about stuff if we're not participating in some way, whether it's you're working, that's your job, or you're actually just going to different meetings. Now no one has an excuse because they're all virtual. So you can literally turn your computer on and listen to what's happening in your city to make sure you're connected. And then finally, the fifth area is your work. Everyone can have impact in their work. I know for me, I'm probably a little bit of a rebel rouser in that I go into places, I'm like, something ain't right, let's fix it. I love fixing stuff, and that's the way I like to operate. But we do have some influence in our work, even if you're in a place where you feel like it's not comfortable or is welcoming to people of color or Black people in general. You can do something. You can make sure you're giving resources to people or helping people out or raising issues up in a way that you feel comfortable. There's always something we can do in those different 5 areas, and those are individual, your home, which is your family, your block, your community / government, and then your job. So that's what I always tell people, to focus on those things. Like, no one here, well, maybe one of us will change the world. I don't think so. I think that we're all going to change our sphere of influence. And even in that, we just have to we have more impact in that way. Like, that's exponential. If I come here, I teach you two, teach two more too, blah, 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 and keep it going. That's how we exponentially impact our community. We shouldn't expect for one person to have a speech one day and they're like, oh my God, life changed. No, this is daily work. This is how we live. This is how we breathe. This is how we work. This is how we engage with our community. And if we really want change that's exponential, we all have to do our part, and we can't look to someone else to do it. There's no more looking to Sean King, AKA, I'm not gonna say what they call him, Sean King or any of these other people. Like, we cannot keep going to these 5 folks that literally cannot change it for us. Yeah. It has to be our own personal work in our own community and doing what we can. Even if you just impact one life, that's one life that's been changed, and that is real work.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Correct.
Love it. And
that's just funny. I just realized, were you named after a Bible book?
Well, it's an interesting story. That and Corinthian is actually a family name. So,
okay. Because I was like, Arthur was named after King Arthur. Who is named after?
Arthur is actually a family name too.
Okay, got it.
Our grandfather.
It's all
okay. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I just
Amber. See, you know what?
That's that adult ADHD, y'all.
Listen, I'm telling you, y'all, we gonna have Amber Ivey back. Trust me, if time permits, we're gonna have her back. But just remember what she said: a better you, a better me, family, block, bigger community, and work. I love those points. We need. Oh my good, Amber. Like, just thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
I'm being so serious right now.
I hear you.
Like, what you're talking about is what we need. So thank y'all, everybody. That
talking about it don't mean nothing unless each one of us who are listening to this today and each one of us participating are doing our part. A lot of people,
should we tell her about the gathering? But that's gonna be later. That'll be later.
Yeah,
because
I'm nervous. Y'all gonna have an event?
What you are actively doing in your community.
Is there gonna be an event?
We'll talk about that. We'll talk. We'll talk about all
ADHD. I'm now not able to focus on anything else till we talk about that. So go ahead and talk about what you want to talk about. No, but what were you asking about? Like things to do in your community, or what was your question?
Well, what I wanted to ask, I wanted to drill down. You have a podcast that has
yes, sir.
Title. I would love to hear what was the inspiration, the genesis behind that, what it does, and
Yep. So right now I'm preparing for season 2, but season 1 is online at all major podcasts, so check it out. But what I talk about is exactly what we're talking about here today. So I realized, especially like the different rooms I've been blessed to be in, like seriously, it's a privilege for the places I've been in. I never would have thought growing up that I would be where I'm at today. I'm just being very honest. I know some of y'all have a different view of me than I have of myself, but legit, I never saw myself here. I knew I would do cool things and I was always ambitious, but I didn't know the gravity of like being around certain people, learning about certain things. And that for me, it was sad for me because I'm like, there's so much knowledge out here that I just am blessed to have the right person at the right time, connect me to the right person or connect me to the right job opportunity. And I've been blessed in that way, but others don't have that. So my podcast is meant to really decode or explain different topics, mostly focus on 4 areas: public policy, law, technology, and data. So we literally bring on guests who are doing really cool things. Our first guest, which is someone you all know, was Kojo, who was the first Black candidate to come out of congressional candidate out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we really talked about like the politics of it, how he used technology to run his campaign, how he literally grassroots. Kojo ain't from Tulsa. Right. Kojo is from somewhere else and was able to literally go in and get the highest number of votes for anyone in a Democratic seat in that congressional district. So, and even talking to folks who are launching different technology companies. I have a wearable tech guru up there who's doing amazing work in Maryland, but really breaking it down to explain to people what it is that's happening in the future and trying to educate folks in the way that I know how to educate, which is bring people on and have them tell their story. Right. So the podcast really focuses on those 4 different areas. Each podcast kind of hits on all of it, but we really are mostly led by data, technology, public policy, and law. And there's also a podcast about that data part. I interviewed a marketing research professional and she talked about how they're using our data. So if you're interested in that, it's a very good podcast, one of our highest viewed or listened to podcasts. But yeah, we talk about breaking these systems down and explaining to people in plain language because I'm tired of folks not understanding or not seeing what's going on. And I'm just trying to do my best to sound the alarm. That alarm looks a little bit yellow, so not as close to red as I would like it. But that's what my podcast is about. So check it out.
A lover and speaker of most things policy, data, tech, and law. Hey, y'all, check it out. Yes. AI decodes the system. And we have it on our there. You can
I see it all broadcast.
Yeah, we got you.
I'm talking about. And AI is because my initials are AI and artificial intelligence. So it's a play on words for folks to wonder like, what the heck is AI? But yes, I've been AI all my life before artificial intelligence was mainstream. I had to compete with Allen Iverson. Now I got to compete with artificial intelligence. It's rough out here.
Oh, Corinthian, what you got, Corinth?
What you about to talk about?
Look,
listen,
No, this bless me, man.
No, see, I'm. Let me behave. Y'all go ahead on. Y'all, I'm just gonna sit back.
I saw someone put in the comments. How do you appeal to those individuals? That's a challenge, and I have my answer. Then I would love to hear yours.
Go for it.
Amber, I would submit that for any grassroots movement, you don't need everybody. You only need a couple, a small few that's on code. If you have a small few, it will affect the masses. Mm-hmm. I mean, now I don't even want to get biblical, but I mean
10,000.
Look, what one could do, what 2 could do. So imagine if you are on code, like-minded, have the same passion and purpose, the ripple that you were creating. You know, it's powerful what can happen. So I don't even focus on the people, the naysayers that will not get on board. I'm focused on the people that have the energy, the passion to do it. And now let me equip you with the tools to do it effectively. if I give people with the passion, the energy to do something, and equip you with the right knowledge and tools, the impact is exponential, like you just said. I mean, you don't need many people to start a move. I would say you need around 20%. The 20% will usher in the rest of the 80.
And I'll say less.
Yeah.
You don't want to know my number.
No, I love it. I love it. I'll take it.
Well, it's saying with 2 or 3. I mean, 2 could put.
I'm at 1%. Yeah. I don't even need that many.
Let me find out.
No, but I'm being so serious because what Corinthian is saying is exactly right. Right? I spent a lot of time in my life chasing after people trying to make them understand. That's not my call in life. I'm just being very honest. And it's not. For some people, that is their call, and they are going to be those people who are continuing to like invest in people in that way. I am the person who's like, let me find that 2 or 3 that want to do this work, and then we go out here and find the other 2 or 3, find the other 2 or 3, and then that work will infect those who are on the borderline. Like everything is like almost like a tech company. There are early adopters, people who are like, oh yeah, I'll try everything out. Period. There are people who are like, no, I'll wait till y'all download this or get this phone, and I'll wait 3 or 4 years. And there's people who are late adopters. So we have to understand people are different and we're all not the same. And you also don't want too many other people who are like us, right? Who are ready to activate. Too much of that can lead to like, you're doing too many things. So you do need people who are like more grounded and like sit back and say, hey, should we do that? Yeah. Are there ways to think about this? So it's a mixed blend of like having the right types of people, and you don't need that many. You just need the right, the different skill sets that you all need for a well-rounded like beginnings of that. Like even like I was talking about Kojo. Kojo was able to do massive things with grassroots in a place that historically we had Black Wall Street there, right? They're in a community that's still dealing with the effects of that. And what he was able to do was just by starting to say he wanted to do and having a very small group of people who eventually grew into this big thing. He was not the candidate the Democrats wanted. He talks about this on my podcast. They were like, what are you doing? Who are you? Because if you know anything about politics, there's a line. And maybe you didn't know this, but there's a line to almost every seat that exists in this country. When people come out of that line and go in there and win it, that throws off that system. But the system has seats. It lets people know, hey, you're running now. Oh, wait, you should run in this position. We have that position for this person. The system is very geared and has it the way it works. So anytime people like AOC or Kojo or any of these folks who are not a part of that system get these positions, it shakes that whole system's foundation and then allows a lot of different things to start happening. So that's why I'm excited about the younger generation, because they're not like that. Younger generation is more independent. The younger generation is more digital than we've ever been able to be in our current generation. And the younger generation really wants to work together. And I'm excited to see what that next group can do in conjunction with us, because they've clearly said, many of them have told me they're not doing it alone. And they're like, forget that crap where you're like, the younger generation handles it. They really want to work with the older generations to make sure that we do it together, because this isn't something one generation can handle. We're about to literally speed things up even faster due to technology.
Oh man, Amber, thank you so much for the Kojo reference. Shout out to Kojo doing big things. Me and Kojo played ball together.
I remember. What's the name of y'all darn group? What was the name of it?
We played All City, Hidden Agenda. We played on a.
What was your group name? Your team name? I forgot the team name.
It was Hidden Agenda.
Y'all were hitting it. Okay, I was like, I can't remember the name.
Yeah. But me and him played on another team together. I can't even remember the name.
Oh, y'all left. I thought Hidden Agenda was number one. I guess not.
But there were a lot of teams. But he went on to win the Kaufman Award. I mean, law school did his thing. And shout out to him. And matter of fact, it's something in your inbox too, Kojo. But Amber, we speaking of Kojo, but we're gonna talk about your political run. And I got a little statement too. They want me to run for city council, y'all. But
what you gonna do?
And we'll talk about it.
We're not having an announcement here today. I'm sorry. I might need but legit, you definitely need to think about that. You're that type of person who has like the community piece. You have the good governance sense, like the work that you've done with the schools, what you've done as a coach. Like we need people like that who are exactly run, brother, run. I shouldn't have repeated that out. But no, we need people who actually are ready and willing to do the work. And what city are they? You know how they answer that.
Chesapeake.
But period, down there, we need support. Because that's not a game. I think that everyone listening to this should run for a position. Like I'm not joking. I think everyone should run. I think everyone should ensure that they're voting for these different elections. And we need to make sure that we're doing the right things. But that I ran, 2020 messed me up. So I ran in 2020 during the pandemic as an independent, and I learned relax.
I donated too. I'm not saying
thank you. Yes, ABK donated. I don't know if it's Arthur or ABK, but one of them donated. No, but it was I ran because I'm tired of the two-party system. Sorry if you're part of one of them. I'm not. And I realized that those systems have been, what's happening?
You and Corinthian are twins.
I know, I already decided that. Corinthian's late. He just figured it out right now. I figured it out at 8:21. He just figured it out. So I welcome to the current. No, but seriously, like I grew up one in a military family, and we lived around the world. Like as far west as Arizona, as far east as Germany. So I grew up around different races, different cultures, different types of political ideologies. And in Virginia, unlike some of the other places, you can vote. You don't have to vote only in the Democratic primary. Moving to Maryland, you can only vote for the party that you said that you want to be a part of. I'm like, who restricts someone's vote in that way? So I just started to see like the Democratic and Republican parties don't want a third party. Like they're not interested in that. Like what Ross Perot did in the 19 fill in the blanks. They don't want things like that. Like, think about it. Our primaries are ran by the parties.
Yeah.
How do these parties get money from you to tell you cannot come and vote because you're not a part of their party and they get your taxpayer dollars? Where is the democracy in that? Also looking at how voting happens, right? If 20 some people go to get on a ballot and then they pick the person with the highest majority, the majority could be 14%. How the hell are we putting someone through at 14%? When all these other people, because the vote was so sparse, that's not real democracy. And I really think we need to change those things. I'm happy because the young people I talk to, they're ready. They're like, we're not part of a party. We're independent. We want to live a little bit differently. Even looking at Gallup polls for the first time in history had independents at way above Democrats and Republicans. Do y'all hear them talking about that? They don't, because they literally make you. And even when I was doing my campaign, multiple people would come to me and say, I'm independent too, but I have to register as a Democrat. So that I can vote in the primaries. How are you forcing people to register for something they don't align with just so they can vote, like in the primaries? Like that is so sad to me. So I am an independent. I will say it, and you may get your little.
You be proud. You be a proud independent.
Democrats ain't did shit for y'all. Republicans ain't did shit for y'all either.
I'm just about to log off and let.
So I'm gonna just say you make it. No, but the reality is, like, look at even. Sorry, I'm gonna break this down in a second. I know I said I was leaving at 9, but I'm gonna be here for 3 minutes. What happened? No, because I need to say this. What happened around even like all the momentum we got around, and I have nothing against the president-elect. Like I voted for them. Understand me? So I voted for them. Or not president-elect, but the president. But when he was president-elect, I have no problems with them as human beings. It is what it is. But the fact that they had to go after your fill in a blank vote, I'm not gonna say that part. I'll stay PG for a little bit. They went after your vote, and at the end of it, they were like, "Oh, but we're not having there's no black agenda. there's no focus on that." They're literally cutting checks left and right for people across this whole country to ensure that we had stimulus for this country, the infrastructure bills that are happening. Does any of that stuff target your community? Does it have anything in it that says we need to be ensuring that Black folks are okay because we've destroyed their communities through Redline, which actually started here in Baltimore City, where we deal with it today? Real quick story, and I'll get back to what I was just saying. When I bought my house here, I bought my house in a like middle of the road community, not gentrified, not like mostly older people who have lived in the community or whatever, but they're currently trying to gentrify it. I remember getting my appraisal done. The guy who did my appraisal was a white male, did my appraisal. He told my realtor the house was worth, he said it was worth $200,000. We had already had pre-appraisals that said it was worth $240,000, $250,000 or something like that. He told we were like, what about these other comps? Comps are other houses that have sold in a certain area around your house. What about these other comps that are selling at $240,000, $245,000, whatever? He was like, those are on the good side of the street. I didn't count those. So this is happening on a daily basis. So I had to get 2 more appraisals. Both of them brought my house at over $240,000. Literally, this man marked my house down at $40,000 because he didn't want to count the houses that he felt was on the good side of the street. If you know Baltimore City, Baltimore is a neighborhood city. So if I walk from one block to another, totally different situation. You could be at $1 million house on this corner and a $3,000 house on the next corner. I'm not being dramatic. You can actually look at, there's heat maps online. You can see this. But the problem is there's been redlining here redlining started in the city. Like we are the impetus of redlining started here in Baltimore. Maryland is where we started with laws related to cops and giving cops the extra protection started in Maryland too. So much started here. That's another reason why I'm here. I think God sent me here to help figure that part out. But honestly, if you have things like that are happening today in the Black community, but when they go up to and win the office after they done begged for you, after they got your vote in South Carolina and got your vote in Georgia and got your vote in the Southern South, and they did nothing for you, and they're still sitting there in the White House not saying anything. If we think, I don't understand how after former President Barack Obama, who I love, and I think he's an amazing man from a distance. I've never met him. I would love to meet you one day, sir. But if we think after Barack Obama being in office that anybody else is going to come back and make sure we're okay, it's not happening, my people. The one thing we do have is the vote. One of the things we have. The one other thing we do have is your skills and talents for you to get in these positions, for you to become an elected official, for you to run for office so we can change this mess. It is a mess. This country was built, let's be very clear, for white, rich landowners, not white poor, not white non-landowners. That's why poor people in this country also have problems, because it wasn't built for them. It was built for white European Christian, or Protestant, or whatever the term was back then, white European Christian Protestant landowners. And you have to own, I think it was over 200 acres of land to vote back in the day.
Yeah.
That left out regular smuggler, white people, Black people, women, and all those groups were left out. Who do you see today that's being harmed by all these different policies or different inequities? It's those three groups. You're always going to see them fall to the bottom because the country wasn't built for them. We literally did not have a system for them. That same system is still here today. People can say, oh, let's go in and break up the system and change it. The system works, and it's probably going to work for another 100 years. But what you can do is you can go in it, become an elected official. All you young folks who are millennials and Gen Zers, Gen X, Y, Z, fill in the blank, whatever's next, y'all need to be running for office and changing these rules. The fact that Congress people can sit in office to the day they die, and we're not all like sitting there like asking questions, like why are y'all in office for 50, 60 years? And you don't even know what Facebook is? Please help me.
Oh, man. I'm talking to Corinthian 2.0 right now.
First of all, Amber. I'm probably older than Corinthian. So
yeah, okay, well.
Amber. Nah, I don't know. I think I'm older.
Yes, you are. I ain't mean it. I ain't mean it.
Oh,
okay.
So Amber.
Yes, sir.
You spoke on the illusion of choice that I have been telling my
choice.
It's the illusion of choice. Republicans and Democrats are two sides of the same bird. Illusion of choice. Right? You have to have a strong, independent candidate.
It's a echo.
My bad.
That's Corinthians.
Yeah, it's
y'all got me excited. You have to have a strong third party to progress.
Or fourth, or fifth, or sixth, or 10th.
10 of them. All right. The fact that there's a stranglehold, meaning that you can't vote outside of your party, is by design. Those two parties just strengthen each other.
They do.
They lean on each other, and it's like it's a difference between Coca-Cola and Pepsi.
Yep.
You have to have another candidate, an outside voice, independent. I'm an independent thinker, independent, politically aligned, and I want us as a people, as a voting bloc, to have that same mentality. The only person that will get my vote is for quid pro quo. That means I am voting to get this.
Something has
you
to
don't give me this, you will not. I will sit out the election. Let you.
I already knew, Corinthian. I can already tell. Corinthian said, I ain't doing this.
I'm telling you right now, I'll sit out. You figure it out. You see what I'm saying? You're gonna have to come to me with your best plan on how you will help me and people that look like me. If we get to that level of unity, and it also has to be, we have to be supporting candidates that are saying the same thing.
Exactly.
We have to support them then. So before we even get to the political arm, I think we first have to have an economic base, because politicians are responsive to their base. Their supports that you see. A politician is run by their base.
They are.
And that base contributes to them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we have to do that.
Yep.
We don't want, we can, if you look at any agenda that's being passed right now, look at who is the base that's supporting that. And I bet you they donate.
Yep. They did. Lobbyists make 7 figures in Washington, D.C., y'all. Like, if you didn't know that, they make a lot of money, and because they really control a lot of things, sad to say. But they write, people don't even realize that lobbyists help to write some of the policies that they're passing. Like, a lot of them. Like, they have special interest groups that are literally focused on that. And lobbyists make a lot of money, 7 figures in some instances, high 6 figures. Don't become one just because I said this and told you what salaries are. But no, legit, like, they have interest, and they're calling that person because what matters? I got to get elected the next year.
Yeah.
What matters is I need money the next year.
Yeah.
We've gotten to the point of, like, that's what I love about Virginia. I will say this. Virginia and the one-term governor, I think everyone should have one-term everything. You can come back later again, but I think you need a one-term. I know I'm speaking to your truth, but you should have one-term period, because then I can guarantee you just here to do the job, and you're not here to get reelected.
I love
That's
it.
all we need. That's all I need. Term limits. And you can come back in 2 years, whatever, 4 more years. Sure. Come back again. But this whole idea of you can sit in office for 50 years, I don't even know who owns you at this point. You're not owned by your constituents. So I live in Baltimore City.
Yeah.
Have y'all been to Baltimore City?
Look, I've seen Reisterstown Road. I've been out Reisterstown.
Right, and you lived here, so you know what it is.
I already know. It's almost like you in 2 different worlds.
It's 2 different worlds. The world that gets listened to and the world that gets ignored. Yeah. And it's based on this right here is where the line is. Like, we literally have a line called the L. They call it the L because that's where all my white brothers and sisters live, on an L, straight down basically Charles, St. Paul, and those streets, and over Inner Harbor. Everyone else is on the outsides.
Absolutely. And then
you know what happened? But you know what they get done? They get investments.
Yeah.
The Harbor slamming, Fells Point slamming, Federal Hill. I'm naming all the names y'all don't know about. Come visit us. We have a beautiful aquarium and a beautiful harbor and a beautiful place. It's a great city. Everyone here is very nice. That's why I live here.
Yes.
Nicer than DC for those of you who said you're in DC.
Charm City.
We are very much so Charm City.
Like, look what cut from the same cloth here.
Just what you're talking about, Amber. Look where that city circulator runs, and you'll see.
Yeah, that's it right there. Where does the city circulator run?
Where
city circulator, at least it used to be free. I don't know if it's still free, but the city circulator is a bus that runs on the L, and that city circulator is free. At least it was free I haven't looked in a while, but it was free. City residents who don't live on the L, they have a regular bus and they got to pay. How is that okay?
Yep.
Wow.
Because someone has a voice and they made sure their voice was heard. We have to do a better job of making sure our voice is heard. And a lot of us don't call our congressperson. A lot of us don't show up in their office. Like, before June 6th, like, it was normal. Like, people were like, how did they get in there? I'm like, I've walked in Congress multiple times for stuff I was doing at work. Like, it was the norm. It wasn't something you could literally go up to your member's office. There wasn't a person there to stop you. You just went through a metal detector, walk up to your member's office. Like, I've met with member staff on multiple occasions. And people don't even realize that you can legitimately have an issue and walk up there and tell them how you feel about it and continue to lobby them in ways that's not the official, like doing it as a job, but you can lobby these issues. The fact that George Floyd was killed last year, and let's go through the whole list of other names, and the fact that they still don't have anything around policing coming out of Congress, y'all don't think that's, when we have a Democratic so-called majority, y'all don't think that's interesting?
See,
that y'all don't
this
have
gonna
that?
have to be our
You can
second
do part 2.
podcast.
I'll shut up. But I'm just saying, like, ask questions. Like, there has to be a point where we're like, I think, and I hate to say this, and y'all probably gonna hate me for saying, I think we forget. I think we are so forgiving and we forget too quick as a community. And that causes us to get in trouble. I think they know it too, because it's like, Joe Biden's like, let me go down there with those here black folks and hug them up and love on them, and they're going to get me in office. And we did. And now we're like, hey, Biden, remember when you said you were going to do something for us? And he's like, yeah, I can't do that right now. I got to worry about infrastructure, COVID. Everything else is happening more important than you. Blah, 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 blah. Not to say that's what he said, but that's how I'm interpreting in my own very whatever. But we're very forgiving. You know what we're going to do next election? In 2 years, you're going to still vote for Democrats. 2 more years, you're still going to vote for Democrats. 4 more years, you're still going to vote for Democrats. You're not going to literally buck the system and say, hey, we need a third party that represents our interests, and let's start building that now. There's enough smart people who graduated anywhere who are black who can come together and say, hey, y'all, this is not working. They are not listening. Enough people are now getting tired of it. And we can either keep being tired or we can actually do something. Now
vote by block. Is that your term, Corinthian?
Well, that and I'm tangibles.
Yeah.
I want tangibles. I don't want love.
I want a signature under that tangibles with a date.
I don't want
this contract.
I don't want a hug. I don't want nice words about. I don't want you to come to the fish fry. I don't want none of that. I want the tangibles, and I also want you to cut the check. Period.
Hey y'all, listen, if y'all are just tuning in, y'all or y'all
watch the replay.
Y'all are in for a treat. Amber Ivey, you did your thing. Can we get you back?
Sure, absolutely.
This has been awesome. Hey guys, I want to say this. Everything that the minister just said.
No, I curse. Don't call me a minister.
You need to listen. I'm telling you. And come kick it with us on Thursday nights. Next week, we got another guest, and this is somebody that I definitely think we can link up with Amber as well. Dr. Bobby Banks.
I saw it in the chat. Someone mentioned it. That'd be great.
Yeah, Dr. Bobby Banks is going to be with us next week on the 15th. It's going down. I'm telling you, another action-packed night. Again, Amber Ivey.
Thank you both for having me. I know it took me a while to get on the.
No, it's all Corinthian's fault. It's all Corinthian's fault.
No, it wasn't Corinthian. It was me some weeks where I was like, nah, I can't do it. But honestly, I will say one last thing and I'll shut up. But thank you all for having me here. I really appreciate it. Anytime I can get a chance to talk to people about these things, because I'm super passionate about it, I will always show up. But the thing I want to leave with your audience is like, and you said it, Corinthian, it's like, there's no one coming to save us, whether they're in the White House, whether they're in some distant far house that we don't know about. The only people that can save us is us. And I know people have said that, but that's not a joke. I need y'all to really listen to me. I'm in rooms. I see decisions that are being made across the country, across different governments, and they're all struggling with this thing of how to make sure that they're making the right decisions and not harming Black folks further, not harming Black and brown communities further. These are human beings who are making decisions and making mistakes and putting some of these barriers up in front of us. Like, the government is the reason a lot of this stuff has happened, right? Slavery was instituted by law. All these different redlining, that was legal. Like, all these things are based in our government, how our governments have traditionally run in this country. So if you're going to talk about what's happening and you're not doing nothing, I don't want to hear it. Like, you don't need to go and be Obama. You don't even go be Sean King. You don't need to do all that, but do what we talked about earlier. Focus on you, focus on your house, your family, focus on your community, your government, and those around you and your block, and make sure that you're doing what you can at work, because that's going to change us. We have to start internally and stop looking for someone else. Stop pointing fingers and saying, what can they do? Or someone needs to do this. No, stop. Stop. What can you do today? What can you do this year? What can you do in the next 5 years? What can you do in the next 10? That's all I want people to start asking. I'm tired of us looking, trying to find somebody. They're not there. They ain't been here since the beginning. They're not going to be there, period. We have to do this and that. That is it. Yeah, that's the point, Archie. Do you not see what you just wrote?
See, y'all gonna get her started again.
Archie, look, Archie.
Archie.
Y'all gonna get both of them.
Archie.
Listen,
Archie.
This is
Archie.
You
we can't even get lynching. We can't even get lynching outlawed. Archie. Leave that up there.
Archie. The Asian community is a strong economic
and influential.
And they are on code. Meaning
literally,
that go into any Asian store and who will you see? Who will they hire? They are on code where they don't even have to say it.
It's known.
It's known. Look, you know how your code is on point where it's unstated. You don't have to say get on code.
We need to get our code.
Wow.
Let's get our code and get on code. Who writing it? Corinthian, I'm looking at you for a first draft.
Listen.
Archie's running for office too, down there in Texas. Where we at? We got Chesapeake right here. Where y'all at? We got Kansas, we got Maryland. Let's go. So we can either sit here and have these hoorah rah and all this other stuff. We can actually do something. Someone's saying,
are you gonna run again?
Yes, I am. What you talking about? I need to wait till these younger kids get in there because they are independent. These old folks. But I am gonna run again. But
you know what? I gotta go. I gotta go because I'm
run for office, all of you, or don't talk to me ever again. That's my message. Archie knows it's real. I will cut people off if y'all want to talk about this stuff and I do nothing. We don't need to be friends. I don't need to want people talking about stuff.
Hey, you heard it.
I look forward to you by 20. What is it? I'll give you to 2030. I know you have young kids. So you may want to wait. 2030. By 2030, if you haven't run for office, I'm gonna unfriend you if Facebook still exists.
So I'm gonna put this disclaimer out there already, Amber. So I'm trying to be a city administrator. So I don't want to get political. So like you said,
if you need connections, let me know. I know some people in that space, so just let me know.
Yeah, we in there right now. But yes, I will need more. So
okay, great.
Hey, y'all have heard her. AI Decodes the System. Check out her podcast, her website. Listen, I'm telling you, this is the truth. Black excellence at its finest. I appreciate you, my sister.
Same to y'all. Have a good one.
Oh, thank you.
Corinthian, we're going to keep swinging, bro.
Sir. Yes, sir. Look, we heard the orders already.
Hey, listen. Hey, for everybody, thanks for kicking it with us. Follow, like, and share. All right, Amber.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
All right.